When it comes to the subject of UFOs and extraterrestrials, people tend to think of events and sightings in the second half of the 20th century, especially after the famous Roswell incident in 1947. Although the belief and enthusiasm for this subject was indeed skyrocketing at that time, with hundreds of UFO sightings, alien abductions, and other paranormal events linked to extraterrestrial origins, only those more knowledgeable on the subject know that there is a wealth of evidence of such events on Earth that clearly shows that in the past, hundreds, thousands, or tens of thousands of years ago, we were visited on countless occasions by representatives of several alien races who had such an impact on humanity at the time that they immortalized the events in cave paintings, carved stone drawings, that is, petroglyphs and sculptures. Like the people of the past, today we also record such encounters and sightings, but thanks to our modern technological achievements, we do it with a camera. However, before we get to that, I would like to ask you, if you like the content you see, to support my channel by subscribing, and like the video to help me get more people to recommend it on YouTube. Thanks. Val Camonica, Italy. Cave paintings dating back to 1000 BC found in Val Camonica, Italy, show several figures that look strikingly like modern-day astronauts. Although the spacesuits are not particularly recognizable, the helmets on their heads are. The lines protruding from it also appear in ancient depictions in other parts of the world, such as the Atacama Giant in the Atacama Desert in Chile. A petroglyph 119 meters long, visible only from the sky. But returning to the astronauts of Val Camonica, we can see some kind of technical device or tool in their hands, and above another figure, a strange shape, perhaps resembling a flower at first sight, which, if we do see astronauts carved into the rock, could be a stylized form of a spaceship. This form also appears in several other engravings and can be found in the Chalden Bottom Mine in southern England. Also in Little Waltham Church, also in England. Scientists believe that this shape is a rudimentary representation of the swastika. And if they are right, it begs the question, how did people thousands of years ago know about the existence of this shape? In addition to the figures, the Val Camonica cave has other interesting features for us, such as the carvings of circular labyrinths, which are strikingly similar to those found in Pontevedra, Spain, in England at Cornwall, Castletown Roach in Ireland, Tucson, Arizona, the aforementioned Chalden Bottom Mine, and on and on. What is perhaps even more surprising is that in our modern age, this labyrinthine representation still appears in the form of a crop circle. The crop circles themselves are worth a video, by the way. This crop circle was photographed on the 22nd of June 2015 near Redlinch in County Somerset, England. The fact that cultures thousands of kilometers apart, which could not have known of each other's existence, are carving the same images on the walls of their caves is in itself thought-provoking. It can hardly be a coincidence. Still remaining on this site, here are two more strange shapes that, with today's eyes, could be mistaken for UFOs with little imagination. Perhaps, except for the astronaut figures, of course, these petroglyphs would not be interesting on their own, but together we can make connections. Toro Muerto, Peru. The Toro Muerto petroglyphs are located in the Arequipa region of Peru, where, according to recent surveys, 2,584 petroglyphs have been found. The petroglyphs found here are believed by many to be the ultimate evidence of distant past visits by ancient aliens. This was the view of a South American archaeologist, Christine Dequerlor, who carried out her research in the 1970s, despite the fact that her work was simply ignored by representatives of the scientific academies. According to the archaeologist, much of your rock art is clear evidence of past visits by extraterrestrials, especially since the carvings are not only of astronauts, but also of countless strange creatures. And science academies, as we all know, like to stick to dogma and don't look kindly on anyone who dares to claim otherwise or who doesn't think about our past according to the official history books. Remarkably, local residents have refused to help Christine Dequerlor with the digging and research, certain that Toro Muerto is a place of bad energy. The archaeologist has also published a book on the finds entitled, "These Gods Came From Elsewhere." The helmets of the astronauts carved into the rock also show lines branching out from them, just like the representations found in the caves of Val Camonica. The ancient rock paintings are dated to 10,000 BC and are attributed to the Huari culture, which disappeared around the 10th century AD. Sego Canyon, Thompson, Utah. The rock art from Sego Canyon is the perfect example of ancient alien depictions and perhaps one of the most famous extraterrestrial depictions from the past. The site contains artwork from at least 3 indigenous cultures spanning nearly 8,000 years. Some paintings clearly depict bison, horses, and humans, and there is nothing surprising about these. However, there are also dozens of strange figures that are completely different from humans. Indeed, most depict what look like gray aliens with their huge, disproportionately large eyes. Of course, mainstream scientists say there are no ancient extraterrestrials, because how could there be? And they forget that ancient peoples always depicted what they saw and what was important enough for them to record. Tassili Niger, Sahara. Covering more than 28,000 square miles of the Sahara Desert, the Tassili Niger, composed mainly of sandstone, holds many secrets that have fascinated the scientific community and alien enthusiasts alike. In the many caves and crevices of the crumbling rock lie a treasure trove of ancient cave paintings and rock carvings. The first information about the caves dates back to 1910, but it was only 20 years later, in 1930, that they were discovered by a French soldier, Charles Brennens. Much later, in 1956, accompanied by French explorer and ethnographer Henry Lote, he returned to the area with financial support, and over the next 16 months, Lote and his team discovered and documented nearly 800 paintings. The sheer volume of artworks discovered so far has made the area one of the most important sites of its kind in the world. The paintings, estimated to be 15,000 years old, depict many inanimate objects, including vegetation, rivers, and jungle plants. There are also a good number of drawings of giraffes, ostriches, elephants, oxen, alligators, hippos, people engaged in various activities, as well as strange animals and alien astronauts. It is the latter category that has attracted much attention, as the mysterious humanoid-like figures wear what appear to be gloves and helmets that resemble the clothes worn by modern astronauts. And on several of the figures, we can again observe the familiar lines extending from their helmets, which many believe are antennas. Another image is rather controversial, as the drawing shows what appears to be several human women being escorted into a mysterious non-terrestrial spaceship. They are led by a figure who appears to be wearing a spherical helmet. Now, while official science classifies the artifacts as large masked people or other objects, which it believes are otherwise religious or ceremonial, less dogmatic thinkers see them as clear evidence of alien visitation. Wandjina, Kimberley, Australia. One of Australia's most intriguing and disturbing Aboriginal legends is that of the Wandjina, the supreme spirit beings and creators of Earth and humans. The land of the Wandjina is a vast area of some 200,000 square kilometers of land, water, sea, and islands in the Kimberley region of northwestern Australia, with a continuous culture dating back at least 60,000 years, and probably much older. The traditional Aboriginal culture is still active and alive here. Perhaps most interesting in their figurative art, painted on rocks and in caves, is the way the Wandjina are depicted. A white face, no mouth, with large black eyes and a head surrounded by a halo or helmet of some kind. Ancient paintings have been interpreted in many ways, from stylized depictions of humans or even owls, to ancient astronaut theories that extraterrestrial beings visited Earth tens of thousands of years ago and interacted directly with its inhabitants. Some indigenous people believe that the Wandjina, or extraterrestrials, even played a direct role in creation. This would not be surprising, as this kind of creation story is also found in the myths and legends of many ancient civilizations around the world. Interestingly, the paintings have been repainted by the indigenous people from time to time since their creation, and some tribes still revere the Wandjina so much that this continues to this day, although only certain individuals are allowed to repaint them. Chhattisgarh, India. In villages in this area of India, there is still a belief in the so-called Rohilla people who visited people of this age centuries ago. According to tradition, these tiny creatures descended from the sky in a round flying object, taking some people from one village with them who never returned. About 130 kilometers from the city of Raipur are caves where cave paintings have been discovered that may depict the Rohilla people. In some of the images, the beetle-like creatures with tentacles reappear. Another shows a group of figures standing side by side with unusually rounded heads, and again a figure in a spacesuit and space helmet with the familiar antennae on his head. And below him, a stylized image of a gray alien with an outstretched head. But if all this were not enough, there is also a strange three-legged structure in this cave, which, given the strange creatures, is probably a representation of a spacecraft. Nourlangie Rock, Australia. This is the group of rock paintings that are mistakenly identified as paintings found at the previously described site, when in fact they are in Australia's Kakadu National Park. Researchers believe the area has been inhabited for at least 50,000 years, and the rock faces bear depictions of the ancestors of creation, Namanjok, Namargon, and Barginj. Whether they are the ancestors of creation or something else, the figures with disproportionately large heads for their bodies, wearing white robes, and again, the beetle-like creatures, are thought-provoking. There are also depictions here that are paintings of scrawny creatures with huge eyes, which could not, with the greatest charity, be called human figures. Horseshoe Canyon, United States, Utah. The Holy Ghost, or Holy Ghost group, are among the most famous rock paintings in the world. A huge rock face is lined with a series of strange figures who, while impressive in their own right, are perhaps most thought-provoking when you see figures that, unlike them, look distinctly human, much smaller than these strange creatures. Some scenes suggest that people of the time were afraid of these creatures. One of the human figures seems to be pointing a spear at the giant creature standing next to him, perhaps wearing a spacesuit, and the people in the background seem to be fleeing. Dolores River Canyon, America, Colorado. Scattered along the Dolores River in Colorado, America, are many rock paintings, scattered along a very long stretch of the river, and their style varies depending on their location. Again, some drawings feature strange depictions of space helmet-like heads and antennas, while another features alien depictions similar to Sego Canyon. The fact that they do not depict humans is clearly indicated by a group of two figures, where the human figure is recognizable, with the strange alien-like creature next to it. There are also anthropomorphic paintings of strange creatures with strange, sort of trident-shaped heads, but we also see strange circles that appear in many other places around the world. But the strangest is this painting, officially called Ancient Aliens. Well, to say that they are human would be a bit difficult. Rock Art Ranch, Wupatki National Monument. Wupatki National Monument is located in the United States near Flagstaff, Arizona. More than 3,000 petroglyphs have been found carved into the rocks in the area, dating from around 5000 BC to around 1400 AD. Above the depictions of oddly shaped creatures found here are symbols that some believe could represent planets or some kind of solar system. And on another carving we see a human figure and perhaps a deer with a giant figure next to them whose clothing seems to have been elaborated, indicating its importance. Crow Canyon, New Mexico. Also, a familiar depiction can be seen in Crow Canyon, New Mexico. These petroglyphs are fairly intact, with distinct outlines, well separated from the rocks in which they were carved. The interesting thing about this image, though, is not just the figure with the horns, but the circle next to it, which is similar in style to the labyrinth depictions found at other sites, although here the labyrinth is rather simplified. There are also figures with antennae heads and a curious gate-like shape. Dry Fork, McConkie Ranch. Among other things, this area is known for its geometric figures, where the formation called the clock is thought by many to be another astronomical representation of planets or solar systems, but strange circles can also be found in other groups, such as the creation called gears. Or the red spiral, which is thought to be an ancient representation of our galaxy, whose spiral shape was only known to the people of the time if they learned this information from someone. Perhaps from a strange being depicted as such a shadowy figure. Canyon Pintado, United States. Canyon Pintado is located in the Douglas Valley in northwestern Colorado, United States. Here, strange circles reappear, but perhaps it's the strange creatures you see here that first catch your attention. With their tentacles and head shapes typical of small gray aliens, they look more like visitors from distant stars than people who lived thousands of years ago. Nor does this little creature, who is hard to tell what he is trying to represent. Its head looks more like an astronaut's helmet than a human head. Onake, Kindi, India. I have left this Indian site at the end of the video, where there is actually only one painting that fits the theme, but it is all the more remarkable. Above the many depictions of people and animals in drawings estimated to be 15,000 years old, almost on the ceiling, is this strange shape, which many believe is nothing more than an image of an extraterrestrial spacecraft, a flying saucer seen from below, although some say it is visible from above. And inside, there appear to be two figures. A ladder-like object can be seen across the inside, which may have been used after landing, and a wave pattern on one side of the spacecraft may indicate the direction of travel. However, the researchers say that there is, of course, no spaceship here either. They think it is a very rare megalithic funerary style, with the human body in the middle and the sun and moon around it. The wave patterns and the ladder are actually the sun and moon beams, symbolizing light and darkness. One could argue about this, but let's face it, it would be a stretch to read into the official explanation. Well, the sites and paintings mentioned above are just a selection of some of the works found in many sites around the world. I have tried to show you the most interesting ones, and have left out those that my research has shown to be fakes or interesting only through great imagination, despite many sites showing them to be real. Personally, however, I am sure that these ancient drawings and petroglyphs are significant evidence that several species of extraterrestrials visited our Earth in the past. Since humans at that time had little interest in deceiving anyone, they painted what they saw. Do you also think that the rocks are the imprints of our past? Or the opposite? Whatever your opinion, feel free to write in the comments section what you think about what you hear and see, and support my channel and the video by subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for your attention. Bye.